This is a clip about a memory that came to me this morning. It has to do with the Shir Tanya of tomorrow. Tomorrow, Thursday, the Shir Tanya is Igeres HaKodesh Chav Ches, which is associated with Igeres HaKodesh Chav Zayin, which is a letter, a consolation letter for the Ptira, for the passing of Reb Meir, I believe, the son of the holy Rebbe Yitzchak of Berditchever. And the Alter Rebbe comforts him. In 1988, I believe it was 1988, Reb Mendel Futterfass and Rabbi Reichik, Reb Shmuel David Reichik, the Shadar of the Rebbe for the West Coast, were in my home in the Marin County, California, north of San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge. My wife and I were shluchim there. The Rebbe appointed us their shluchim in 1984. And Reb Mendel calls me. He's my wife's great uncle. His sister was married to her grandfather, Zalma Serebransky, was married to Bracha Futterfass, Reb Mendel's oldest sister, I think. Yeah. And he says, I want to come with Rabbi Reichik to sleep over one night in your home, in your house. I said, with the greatest pleasure, to have such chassidim in my house. But I said, Rabbi Mendel, would you mind telling me why every year you come to San Francisco to Rabbi Reichik to raise money for the yeshiva in Nachal Sar Chabad, I think, or Rabbi Motel Kazlina's yeshiva? He would help him raise funds and other things. And you never asked to stay over, and I don't even see you. And this year, not only do you want to see me, you want to be in my house, you want to sleep over. He said, yeah, you're right. I'll tell you why. My sister, who's your wife's grandmother, nudges me to come to Australia. They lived in Melbourne. And I'm tired. I'm old. I don't have the money. I can't go. So I decided I'll fulfill her request by sleeping over one night in her granddaughter's house. That was part of Reb Mendel's Klugschaft, his cleverness. It was a monumental day, night and day, with these two chassidim. I have much to say about it. It's something I'll never forget the rest of my life. And in fact, I made a video of it. It's now in Hebrew with cut and in English. Reb Mendel, if you haven't seen it, I believe it's online too. Do yourself a favor. You'll have time of nafshi. You'll have pleasure, soul pleasure, by looking at it. But I remember one thing that stands out. So he sits down in the morning. We didn't have a minyan at the time. So he says, let's daven together, you, I, and Reichik, Rabbi Reichik, because the Rebbe Rashab told a friend of his, Shmuel Yitzchak Reitzes, Rashi Reitzes, who was traveling and raising money for the Temchet Mimim in the colonies, in the Yeshuvim, in the villages all around Russia, and he wouldn't have a minyan. So he asked the Rebbe Rashab what he should do. So the Rebbe Rashab said, at least try to daven to other people. This way you have a mazumin. Like when you bench, you have 3 people. It's called a mazumin. So Mendel says, Lamed daven al tzazam, let's all daven together. Let's all pray together. This way we have a mazumin. Fine. But before that, he says, we have to learn the Shir Tanya of the day. We have to learn the chitas, the section in Tanya for chitas. Sure. I take out a Tanya. You can see this on the video, on that clip. And we start learning. It's about that a tzaddik's life is emunah, yira, ne'ava. What is the essence of a tzaddik? His faith in God, his love, his all for God, and his love for God. And I think it was around those words that Mendel quickly lifts his head. I think he was wearing his glasses, and he picks his head up from reading. He was an older man already, It was in mid-80s, 82, 83, something like that. And he says, "Oy Itche." So I say to Mendel, "Welche Itche meant it?" I mean, I thought I knew, but I just wanted to make sure. Itche der Masmid. Oy Itche. And he tells me something which I don't remember now precisely, but when he read those words, it reminded him of Itche der Masmid. And I heard later that his love for Itche der Masmid was so great that he loved him because Itche der Masmid was the epitome of an Oved Hashem. his davening, his reciting, his chazering Maimorim, everything up by his religiosity, his frumkeit. But the way that Mendel said, this is what I want to leave you on this clip. The way that Mendel said, Oy, Itche, you cannot buy it in any store. It doesn't exist today. Finding a person who by happenstance just happens to mention some thought that comes in the middle of learning, in the middle of speaking, in the middle of doing something, and it reminds him of some chassid from 50 years back, and he expresses himself with such admiration and love, like he's hugging and kissing him, and he's not letting go. Oy, Itche. If you would have said Itche is one thing. The Oy, before Itche, with the tone of the voice, makes it, as we say, Reich shebereich. Rich within rich, the best of the best, gewaldig. So that's a tomorrow Shir Tanya. So when you learn tomorrow Shir Tanya and you learn about a tzaddik, and that the Alter Rebbe says it about a tzaddik, referring to the Levi Yitzchak Baditchever. But nevertheless, it goes for all tzaddikim. And in a sense, it goes for every yid. A yid that lives, a yid that lives his life with emunah, av and yid and av, with faith, and love for Hashem. So we have 24 hours kind of. Today is Wednesday. This is tomorrow's shir. To prepare ourselves, to think about it. What does our love consist of? What do we really love? Is it money? Is it material matter? Is it family? What do we really love? And then fear, awe. Do we really have awe for Hashem? Are we really Yirei Shemayims? Faith. It's so easy to say, I believe. You really believe? When things don't go your way, and the curveball is coming from one side, and the splitter is coming from the other side, and the fastball and the sinker and the slider is coming from another side, and you're all kababculated, zemisht, in ganzen, you don't know what's hitting you. And you still live with that faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you love him just the same, and you love him even more. It's an avodah, Rabbi say. It's work. It doesn't come easy. It does not come easy. Anything that's easy, the Chassidim of the Tzemach Tzedek said, run away a mile, 100 miles. Get away from it. You want things handed to you on a plate, on a platter? No. Temporarily, it's easier. They give it to me. But when you work through something, when you you work out a situation, and you go through the trials and tribulations, and you work towards your emunah and ava and yira, it's a whole different level. It's a whole different experience. May Hashem help that we have already Mashiach, that we can see and hear him, and we could say about those people that we met who've gone, passed on, Oy, Itche. L'chaim.